Hi, everyone. My name is Leah Bengel, and I am a clinical coordinator with SandCastles Grief Support Program. And here with me today, I have Hannah, my social work intern, joining us for Grief and Brief. How are you doing today, Hannah?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining me and being willing to do this Grief and Brief with me today. So we do have some questions for you, and just starting off. Hannah, I know that you're an intern with us, but a lot of our interns do come with us or come to us with their own story. Can you tell us a little bit about your grief journey?
So I lost my mom to cancer when I was 18. She was diagnosed in 2016 with follicular non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. However, she was misdiagnosed with the form of lymphoma. So we initially thought it was slow growing. So we didn't really um take any action regarding treatment. The doctors advised her to kind of just wait and get healthy and prepare herself for the time that she will need treatment. However, the time was then to begin treatment, and they kind of missed that. So she got pretty sick pretty quickly. She had
Mhm.
a biopsy done on one of the tumors. They kind of all just popped up really like it felt like overnight. Like about a
Mhm.
week, it really she just really declined. So she did a biopsy, and I remember I got home from school at the same time she got home from the biopsy, and she just like couldn't walk. She was really out of it. We're not really exactly sure what happened. But my theory was that it had to do with the anesthesia. Like it just seemed like she really hadn't come out of it. Um,
Mhm.
and she was out of it for about like a week. And it just progressed. I wasn't really aware of what was going on. I was at school, so I wasn't seeing a lot of it um that was happening throughout the day. But at one point, she was hospitalized, and she became unresponsive, and essentially slipped into a coma. We found out that she had a stroke due to the tumors had spread to her brain. So that caused the stroke. So that was the reasoning behind the unresponsiveness and just the rapid decline. Um, so she was in a coma for about a week, maybe a little bit longer, and we didn't know if she was going to wake up at all. They were kind of preparing me to lose her, which
Mhm.
was terrifying for the week that that was going on. It was incredibly difficult. She did, however, start to regain consciousness slowly. And then about a week after that, she fully woke up and was there cognitively, but she was very disabled physically from it. She couldn't really move the left side of her body at all. So she was hospitalized for about 3 months while they did chemotherapy and physical therapy, um, just to kind of help her regain some of her senses and abilities back.
Mhm.
So yeah, she was in the hospital for about 3 months, which was really difficult. Before she had gotten sick, I don't think I had seen my mom any less than a week throughout my entire life. Like I spent pretty much every day with her. I saw her every day. So that was a really difficult transition, just not seeing her and not being with her.
Right. Right.
Especially too, yeah, I'm an only child. And my parents struggled to get pregnant. They had 4 miscarriages before having me. So just because of that experience that they had, combined with me only having them as my immediate family members and not having siblings, we were incredibly close. So
Mhm.
that was really difficult, just the separation, and the fear of potentially losing her. After the first stroke, we thought we were in the clear. We just thought we had a long um, road to recovery ahead of us. But I was just grateful that she had survived. Um, so we did the treatment. She came home right before Christmas, which was really nice, and continued physical therapy and chemotherapy. We had to set up one of the rooms downstairs as sort of a makeshift bedroom hospital room for her, just because we had a lot of medical equipment to assist her with like walking and like getting her out of the bed and transferring her to the wheelchair. So we like
Mhm.
had a little like hospital room set up. We had a lot of help coming to the house and a lot of nurses. I was doing a lot of caretaking myself. I was missing about 3 days of school a week my senior year of high school just to help and take care of her and be with her as well because it was very scary. So that
Mhm.
was really difficult. We made it to the summer and her the chemo had worked, the cancer was gone. She had finished the treatment. But then you do like a follow-up scan just to check and see if the cancer is completely gone or if it's starting to reemerge. And in her case, it was reemerging. And we had a repeat of the exact same situation in the beginning where she had another stroke, was unresponsive again. This time she did not come out of it. She was in that state for 10 days. And like over the course of that, her organs slowly started to shut down, which was horrifying to watch being at the hospital and feeling helpless and seeing her just unable to do anything. I mean, she was completely out of it. She could move a little bit, but I I try to tell myself that she wasn't aware of what was going on just to comfort myself.
Mhm.
But yeah, at the end of it, she ended up passing away on July 14th of 2018. Um, which was a month before I started undergrad. So that that whole time was very tumultuous. But yeah, no, that was earth shattering, as everyone who goes through a loss like that knows. It's truly incomprehensible, and there's really no words to describe that level
Mhm.
of extreme pain. Like one of the things that really stood out to me when I lost her was like my whole life, anytime I cried or anything, she'd always, come to me and comfort me and hug me. And I just stood, in front of her lifeless body crying and she's not getting up to comfort me. And that's when it really hit me like she's gone. Like I'm not gonna have her back. I'm not gonna have that in my life anymore and what she added to my life. So that was really hard. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I started college a month after that, which was kind of good in a way. It kind of gave me something to focus on and took my mind off things a little bit, which was good and bad because when I finished college, I realized I had a lot of stuff that I had to address that I had kind of pushed aside to focus on college. And
Mhm.
my college experience wasn't the most supportive either. I didn't really have the best support system around me. I didn't really have a lot of family support just because I don't really have a lot of family. So it was hard being away um, just from everything that was familiar to me. So that was hard. And then COVID started like about a year after that. So that was just also hard. So those 4 years were pretty difficult. But I also kind of didn't really acknowledge my grief. I kind of focused on school and I struggled with a lot of different things, but I kind of never really sourced it back to grief. I just said I just struggle with this, I struggle with that. Um Also took a very huge toll on my physical health. I got diagnosed with a lot of different conditions like pretty quickly after that happened. Granted the whole process of her being sick and dying and caring for her that had already been going on for about a year um anyways, so that really just the stress took a toll on my physical health and I had to go to a lot of like physical therapy and get on a lot of medications and have a lot of testing done for different things. And I'm still dealing with that. I think I'm always going to deal with that. I don't think a lot of it unfortunately is reversible. I have a lot of like chronic pain and headaches and stuff like that. That have been a big part of it that I've had to kind of navigate and figure out. So that's been difficult. But yeah, I graduated college, moved home, and that was pretty difficult as well, just because that was the first time I'd really been at home without her there. I had to take on
Mhm.
a lot of responsibility at home. We had like some senior dogs who had a lot of health issues. So that took up a lot of my time caring for them and being with them just because they couldn't be left home alone. They couldn't walk. That was a really difficult situation. And then also too, just like my mental health really tanked from everything that happened. I got diagnosed with a few different forms of depression, anxiety, a lot of different stuff. So really just after undergrad, I spent about a year just kind of learning how to live again and like getting the basics under control of how do I feed myself? How do I take care of myself? How do I get out of bed? How do I get myself functioning again?
Mhm.
So I focused on that for a while and it paid off. I didn't really do much and I did feel a little bit behind compared to my peers, but ultimately it was definitely the best decision for me because I did kind of get myself back on my feet again. And around the time when that happened was when I found Sandcastles and started volunteering. And that's been really great so far as well. So that's pretty much been my grief journey from the time that I lost my mom till now.
Yeah, thank you so much for your willingness to share with us today
Hmm.
and with our kids too, because I know that um, when the kids come to group that, they see it's not only the kids in the group, but, their facilitators too have also
Hmm.
experienced this. So thank you for everything you do for sharing today and for, your the impact that you have on the Sandcastles kids' lives.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell me a little bit about, what helped versus maybe what didn't help in your grief journey?
Um, Immediately when the loss was occurring, so like the week that she was actively dying, and then immediately after, I don't think I could have tolerated something like that if it wasn't for my family who did step up. They've been a little bit absent since, but at the time, my extended family, so my mom's siblings, my cousins, were all very supportive and family friends. It is difficult because everybody does return back to their normal lives, and then my normal life is does not exist anymore. So it's hard like now, but at the time, immediately, the support was make or break for me. They were with me at the hospital every day. I had friends like that stayed with me. My boyfriend at the time pretty much moved in and stayed with me for a month just to be with me. So just I really couldn't be alone. That was the biggest thing. So just having people surrounding me at the time, and sharing stories about my mom and looking at pictures together and sharing memories was really great for me. I
Mhm.
definitely did struggle with like not using the healthiest coping mechanisms, which I think is a result of when COVID happened, my therapy kind of stopped abruptly just because nobody really knew what to do. So
Mhm.
I kind of was out of therapy for a while, and it took me a while to get back into it. But I wasn't really receiving support throughout college, so I definitely like turned to like things like food or like shopping and stuff like that. Like that would bring like immediate comfort, but then long term would create other issues. So that in a sense got me through it. I'm not upset that things happened the way they did because I think ultimately it did get me through a really difficult time. So I'm
Mhm.
accepting of it and I'm okay with it. I just know now that like I want to move forward and I don't want to rely on the things that I had to rely on moving forward. But definitely, I would say the biggest thing is community for me. So again, like my family, having like really good supportive friendships, and then also being a part of Sandcastles has been um, really helpful as well. Just being surrounded by people who understand grief, because I feel like it's one of those things that can be really isolating, and it's hard to find people who understand what it's like to go through. Such an extreme loss. But then I come to
Mhm.
Sandcastles and it's like, oh, well, everybody here has. Like,
Mhm.
I hate to say that it's like almost like we're all a part of this club together, but like we are. But it's honestly really great given our circumstances. It's like this is the best we can do. Um, and it brings a lot of comfort and community. And it really normalizes the situation. It gives me a space and opportunity to talk with people about things and about components of grief that I can't really talk to other people about just because they haven't experienced it. So they're not really sure how to navigate those conversations, but it's very open, it's very comfortable. Um, so that's been really good. So definitely just support and connection and community have been groundbreaking in helping me get through this.
Absolutely. And do you do you find now that you're like further in your grief journey that you have specific tools in your toolbox that you use to cope with the death of your mom?
Yeah, I do. It's definitely taken me a long time to figure out what works for me. There's been a lot of trial and error, but therapy has been really fantastic in helping me navigate that. I think one of the biggest things I've had to learn is that it's I'm not like sick. There's no end to this. Like for a while, I kind of I categorized it with like depression and like, okay, well, once I figure out how to like deal with this, it's not going to hurt me anymore. And I think the biggest thing I had to learn was what's always going to hurt because you always would have loved your mom. You were never going to stop loving her. So how can you ever stop loving her even if she's not here? And that's really what
Mhm.
grief is just loving them despite them not being here. And that's really painful. So I think like allowing myself to just authentically feel what I feel and not trying to change it, not trying to have an expectation of what it should look like or what it should be like or what it should feel like, just letting it be what it is and then being kind to it and being kind to myself and just kind of approaching everything compassionately. If there's ever a time where like I'm feeling a certain way and I'm like, oh, I wish I wasn't feeling this way. I don't want to be grieving right now. Like I'm doing this fun thing. Like I don't want to feel down. Like kind of just telling myself like it makes sense though. Like there's a reason you feel this way. You're not crazy. Um it's not here for no reason. The same way a stomach ache just doesn't come up for no reason. Like and just
Mhm.
allowing it to be. And when I kind of like give myself the space to feel that, I feel this like sense of comfort and like just peace come over me, despite like the pain that's also there. It's just so much easier not to fight it and just to allow it to be there. To not see it as like this enemy, yours as this like illness. And to just kind of accept that this is just gonna be a part of my life. Unfortunately, like it is painful. And at the end of the day, I would much rather prefer my mom be here. But
Yeah.
again, there's other things I can do with this, which I am doing, such as sandcastles that provide meaning, despite the pain. And yeah, just kind of, I think just being compassionate to myself has been really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I am just um I mean in awe and how you speak and everything, and I echo what you're saying as far as like we have to allow, ourselves to feel those feelings because we can't go under them, we can't go over them, we have
Mhm.
to go through them.
Yeah.
So just feeling those feelings and finding ways to memorialize our person is truly
Mhm.
important.
Yeah.
Um, what advice do you have for other kids who have also experienced the death of a loved one?
Other than like just being kind and gentle with yourself, and letting yourself like rest when you need to rest and um, just giving yourself understanding and grace. I would say another really important thing, which I feel like I've already highlighted, but finding a grief community, finding people who understand and finding just support. So whether that's like through therapy, therapy has been really important in helping me navigate this and helping me navigate the changes to my identity and my personality that have been brought on by the grief. Just finding a space where it's free to just be what it is and to be out in the open because it is really hard to just go day to day kind of keeping that inside and not really having anyone to talk about it with and not even just having someone to talk about it with but just being around people who have been through it as well and knowing that it's not just you. You're not the only one feeling like this. You're not crazy. There are people who get exactly what you're saying, even if there's a time where you share something about your grief with someone and they look at you like, "Oh, I don't know what to say." That's really that's really intense. You can say that to someone at Sandcastles and they're completely unfazed. If anything, they're like, "Oh, me too." Like I've
Yeah.
also been through that. So that I think out of everything that I have done with my grief, that has been the biggest game changer is just that community and that sense of support.
Yeah. Yeah, it's uh, kind of there's no words to describe being in a group of other, people, or if you're a kid
Mhm.
who get it, right?
Yeah.
It's you're kind of part of this club that you don't want to be a part of, but you're a part of it
Mhm.
because you love somebody that's, no longer here, but we are, grateful for the support and the friendships and the connections that we have at Sandcastles.
Mhm. For sure.
So, why Sandcastles? Why did you choose to volunteer at Sandcastles?
Well, I was pretty unsure about what I wanted to do throughout college for my career. I initially started with nursing, but that was really difficult, especially when grieving. I just couldn't take that on at the time. And I'm honestly grateful because I feel like I've ended up in a better place um, doing social work now. But for a really long time since my mom had died, I felt like I needed to make something good come from it. It just I couldn't tolerate it just being this unbelievably horrible thing that happened for absolutely no reason at all. I needed to like create reasoning of it, not reasoning, but create some sort of meaning from it.
Mhm.
Um, so I would look up a lot of like grief related volunteering things. I looked at a lot of camps specifically, and I had always wanted to join a grief camp. I wasn't really sure how to go about finding one, but I knew I wanted to do that at some point. I would watch like the videos of it on YouTube and I found it really moving. So I knew for sure I wanted to do that. But I just typed in grief volunteer opportunities because I just wanted to have some volunteering under my belt just to prepare me for my social work education. So yeah, I typed in grief volunteering near me and Sandcastles was like the first thing that popped up. So I checked it out, read like the description of like what we do, and I thought it was a really important cause and I wanted to be a part of that. So yeah, I just signed up for the trainings and all that. And immediately felt like it was a really great community. I could just tell, like, even from the trainings over Zoom, like that all the staff were amazing and it was a really great environment. So yeah, I really just it kind of fell in my lap almost. It just kind of was the first thing that popped up, and I'm glad that I gave it a chance. And then it was great too. I didn't even really realize going into it that Sandcastles offers a camp. So that was just a bonus. Like, okay, perfect. I wanted to do this as well. I can do this through them. So it was really great. It just kind of checked all the boxes of what I was looking for. And then I gave it a try, and I it really solidified that I had made a good choice of something to involve myself in.
Yeah, and ultimately you chose to be an intern with us, which is amazing. How did you choose us?
um, Well, yeah, so I'd started out volunteering, was really unsure about what to do for my internship. I'm looking more at the adolescent young adult demographic, but I do know for sure that I want to provide grief counseling. So I thought, okay, I'm here, like everybody's great, the staff are great, so why not do my internship here? I'm already familiar with this environment. Um, so yeah, it just kind of was, I think, checked all the boxes of what I was looking for in my internship. So it was a really great opportunity to take on.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Hannah, for everything that you shared today. We are so appreciative, for you obviously taking the time to do this grief and brief and to do your internship with us. It's an honor to work alongside you and continue this mission of continuing to educate our society on children's grief and how to become a more informed grief society. So thank you for everything you do for our Sandcastles kids, and I have no doubt in my mind you're going to be a fantastic social worker in the future.
Thank you, Leah.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of their day, and thank you for listening. Take care now. Bye bye.